Hey guys, how you guys doing? This is Rene Gonzalez making this video from the comfort of my own home. It's like 90-degree weather over here in Massachusetts. Nice and hot. Hope you guys are having a great day. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I've had a lot of friends on the internet tell me, Rene, I wish you'd do a video explaining what's at stake with this presidential election and with the elections here in the United States. You're an expert in political science. Can you make it plain for us? So I said, okay. I thought about it for a while. I said, Contra, I have the idea. This is easy. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a piece of paper, right? And on the left side, you're going to divide the paper with a line, right? And on the left side, you're going to put Democrats. And on the right side, you're going to put Republicans. So it's like if you were playing a game of, I don't know, dominoes. Those who play dominoes know what I'm talking about, okay? And then here's what we're going to do. Every time I make a statement of some sort or some information, some factual historical information, if you believe it's factual and it's historical and you agree with it, you're going to put a check mark on that side. If you disagree with it, you're going to put a check mark on the other side. Let's do an example. If I say Republicans like red, or they propose red as a color, and Democrats propose blue as a color, and you as a voter go, you know what, I agree with red. I like red. I feel like a red type of person. Then you're going to put it on the right. You're going to put a check mark on the right side, okay? So that's what we're going to do, little bit by little. Are you guys ready for this? Okay, here we go. First, the ex-president Donald Trump's wife, Ivana, said that one time in her past, he raped her. She describes it in full detail in one of her books. Later, she recanted her testimony. Obviously, some people think that she was paid off. Now, if you believe that Ivana was telling the truth, that that Donald Trump raped her, you need to put a check mark on the Democratic side. If you agree that it's just a bunch of lies, you put a check mark on the Republican side, okay? Now, the same person, Donald Trump, was found liable by a court of law of digitally penetrating the vagina of E. Jean Carroll, of a woman, of actually in I believe it was a clothing store, if I'm correct. And a jury of his peers found that there was enough evidence to find him guilty of that he was liable for that he did it. Let's not mince words, because there's criminal and civil court with different words. Some people say liable, other people say criminal. It means that the jury felt that Donald Trump did insert his fingers into the vagina of E. Jean Carroll without her permission and without her consent. If you believe that is wrong, put the check mark on the Democrat side. If you believe that was right, that's okay. You are going to keep voting for Republican, then you put on the Republican side. Now, Donald Trump was found right now convicted of trying to cover up being unfaithful to his wife, Meliana, when she was pregnant with two porn stars. One of them was Stormy Daniels. The other one was a Playboy playmate named Karen McDougal. This was already found. This has been adjudicated. There's nothing more to debate about it. Both women admitted that they slept with him. There's nothing more to discuss. If you think that's okay, that a man should be unfaithful to his wife while she is pregnant with two porn stars, put the check mark on the Republican side. Or if you think that's wrong, you put the check mark on the Democrat side. Now, he was caught on tape a long time ago before his first election saying that he liked to grab women by the pussy because they would allow it, because when he were famous, they would allow you to do that. He also said in the same video with his own voice, he was caught and he had to apologize on national TV about it, that, he tried to move on his best friend's wife, but she didn't go for it. In other words, he tried to cheat on his best friend's wife. He tried to, mess with her. If you think that type of slimy behavior is totally okay and should be the type of behavior of a president, you have to put the check mark on the Republican side. If you think that's so horrible, you put it on the Democrat side. Now, Donald Trump called Mexicans rapists and thieves. He said that Mexico was sending its rapists and thieves to the United States, which is basically labeling an entire nation of rapists and thieves. If you think that's xenophobic or that's wrong, you need to put that check mark on the Republican side. If you think that's okay and you're going to vote against that, you voted on the Democrat side, okay? We have video of him slapping his chest, of Donald Trump, to make fun of a disabled reporter before his first election. If you think making fun of disabled people is wrong, you need to put it on the Democrat side. If you think, hey man, I do that all the time, that's nothing wrong, I'm still going to vote for him, you need to check mark on the Republican side. He threw paper towels at people who suffered hurricanes when he went to Puerto Rico, and the people were desperate. After 1 month of not having anybody attend to them from the United States, he went to Puerto Rico and threw paper towels at people. If you think that's inappropriate behavior of a president to do to a people that have suffered a hurricane, you need to vote on the Democrat side. If you think, hey man, whatever, they need the paper towels, let me just throw it at them, then you need to check the right column, the Republican side, okay? He tried to sell off Puerto Rico to a country, Denmark. I believe it was Denmark, right? It was Denmark or was it Holland? I think it was Denmark. Without their permission. He wanted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland, for the territory of Greenland. And the people from Greenland who also lived there were never even consulted, let alone the people of Puerto Rico. So there was no democratic consensus to do a trade from one country to another, to cede the sovereignty of Puerto Rico to another nation. Now, if you think it's wrong for one country to cede the sovereignty of another country without consulting those people, you need to vote on the Democrat side. Check mark there. If you think, hey man, whatever, they're ours, we own them, we should see them whoever we want, then you need to put it on the Republican side, okay? He called poor and black countries shithole countries. Now, if you think calling countries that are poor or filled with black people shithole, meaning that their people are shit, if you think that's wrong, you need to put the check mark on the Democrat side. If you think, hey man, whatever, if those countries are shithole countries, they're shithole countries, then you need to put it on the Republican side. If you're okay with that and you're voting for a person that believes that, go ahead, put it on the Republican side. Now, he tried to get other countries to investigate political opponents. This is why he was impeached the first time. We had multiple witnesses, military people, politicians, even people who were participating in the scheme, came out in front of Congress and admitted under subpoena and under oath that indeed he had tried to get another country to get dirt on their political opponents. That's why he was impeached. And by all means, he should have probably been found guilty, but he was protected by the Senate of Republicans. Now, if you think going to other countries to get political dirt on your political opponents is A-okay, you need to put the check mark on the Republican side. But if you think that's wrong, that a U.S. president should never engage in that type of behavior, the check mark needs to be on the Democrat side. Okay. He incited a coup d'etat where police officers died. Everybody saw January 6th. If you think it's okay what he did to spend 4 or 5 hours not telling people to go home and to start preparing for weeks and telling them to come and to come and to come until finally the people were revved up and they went and did a coup d'etat where people died. If you think that's okay, and you know what, they should do it again, check mark on the Republican side, because you're going to be voting for that. That's what you voted for, that's what you wanted, and that's what you're going to vote for in the future. But if you think that's wrong and we should punish that and that should never happen again, check mark on the Democrat side, okay? He ordered a crackdown on protest in Washington. Remember when he ordered a crackdown and he had a little stroll with the military officials? So he had the military clear a path so he could go to a little chapel and take a picture with a Bible. If you thought that was disgusting, a disgusting display and abuse of the Bible, and not a display of Christian behavior, you need to put that on the Democrat side. Check mark on the Democrat side. If you think, hey man, he's the president, he's got the power to use the military, why not? Why can't he crack down on these people? The check mark needs to be on the Republican side. All right. He uses the N-word in private, family affairs, and gatherings. According to his niece, Mary Trump, in her book, he said the word, I'm sorry to use this word, nigger, was completely commonplace in the household, and Donald was no exception. If you think that the word nigger is, hey, it's just fine, use it, why not? Check mark on the Republican side. If you think that denotes a person that is racist, check mark on the Democrat side. Okay? How are you guys doing with the count so far? Everything good? Everybody on top? Okay, good. So he called Nazis very nice people. The people in Charlottesville said there was very nice people on both sides, which means he was calling some of those neo-Nazis very nice people. And one person died in those protests. If you think Nazis are A-okay nice people, check mark on the right side. If you think Nazis are not A-okay people, check mark on the Democrat side. Okay? He said that Hitler did some good things, according to his military officials, his generals, who said that, and other officials within his own administration said, yeah, he said that. In private meetings, he said, you know what, Hitler did a few good things. Like, not everything was right. If you think that saying Hitler did a few very good things or did some good things, it's okay, it's acceptable behavior, acceptable language, check mark on the Republican side. If you think, no, brother, Hitler didn't do nothing good, left side, Democrat, okay? He called soldiers suckers and losers. This was told by military officials that heard him say it, and he denies he did, but a lot of people have heard him say it, and they went public with it. If you think military soldiers are suckers and losers, check mark on the Republican side. If you think calling soldiers losers and suckers, if that's wrong, on the Democrat side, the left side, okay? He showcases sign of dementia as analyzed by experts. If you think a president shouldn't have dementia or is showcasing signs of dementia and that shouldn't be something you should vote for, Democrat side, check mark over here. If you think, hey, you know what, I don't have enough evidence, and besides, you could be stumbling, you never know, Republican side. He showcases narcissism according to experts who have analyzed him, that they've said that basically he's had childhood trauma that led to his narcissism today and his bullying behavior. If you think bullying behavior and being a narcissist is okay behavior for a president, right side, Republican. If you think, oh brother, no way, I can't do that, Democrat side. You got to vote for a Democrat. Okay? He was indicted 4 times and convicted so far of 1 case. If you think it's okay for a presidential candidate to have been indicted for 4 crimes and found guilty of 34 felonies, if that's okay, Republican side, you should vote for the felon, convicted felon. If you don't believe that convicted felons should even get close to even be dog catcher, shouldn't be elected dog catcher, Democrat side, okay? Left side. He insinuated that a grieving mother was silent because her Muslim religion demanded it. That was the cons, when they lost their child. I believe it was a Pakistani soldier, a U.S. soldier, was Pakistani descent. And he said, I saw that the husband spoke, but the wife didn't speak. Must be because her Muslim religion tells her to be quiet and silent. It was a dig at the Muslim religion. If you think that dig was inappropriate, check mark on the left side. If you think that dig was, hey, yeah, you're right, Muslims are like that, Republican side. He also put a Muslim ban on visitors for coming from different Muslim countries. If you thought Muslim bans are totally fine, we should ban people by their religion or certain country, origin, or race, or whatever, and different categories you want to, Republican side. If you think that's inappropriate for a democracy to do, especially a pluralistic, multi-ethnic democracy as the United States, check mark on the left side, Democrat. He said his ex-wife, Ivana, said he kept a copy of Hitler's speeches next to his bed. If you find that disturbing, Democrat side, left side. If you're saying, hey man, I have Mein Kampf on my bed, what's wrong with that? Republican side, okay, on the right side. He was best friend of Epstein, went on many plane trips with him, was named as a rapist of a 12-year-old. The 12-year-old later took back her, her statement, and some people think it's because she was threatened, or she claimed. She actually said that she was threatened. Now, that's why she didn't want to continue going forward. But in her original declamation or explanation, her deposition, she said she was raped by Donald Trump himself, and that she asked him to use a condom, please, and that he screamed to her, "I'll do whatever the hell I want," and held her down while he raped her. If you are okay with a man that's already been found adjudicated of inserting his, fingers up the vagina of a woman, E. Jean Carroll, that we heard him on audio saying, "I grab him by the pussy, they let me do it," and that a 12-year-old said he raped me and he pushed her down, if all of those things make sense to you and you're like, that's fine, I'm fine with him being president, Republican side. If you are horrified, absolutely horrified, that a man like that could ever get close to being the candidate of a party, Democrat side, okay? He kept classified documents to sell them to foreign adversaries, and that's one of the reasons of one of his indictments in Florida. If you think keeping classified documents, which is against the law, is okay, Republican side. If you think keeping classified documents is not okay, Democrat side. He idolizes foreign dictators. We know that he idolizes Putin, Kim Il-sung, and other political leaders. He likes strongmen. He likes government dictators that don't have other checks and balances, other legislative branch or judicial branches that control them. If you believe that presidents should be strongmen and that you should be like Kim Il-sung or like Putin and have nobody or controlling him, or like Xi Jinping, the guy up in China, you need to vote on the Republican side. If you believe in democracy and in the division of the branches of government and guardrails of the institutions of government, you need to put your check mark on the Democrat side. He told Russia it could do what it wanted with Europe and with NATO. He said he'd get the USA out of NATO. If you think that's okay for a U.S. president to ally itself with a Russian dictator or a Russian autocrat and to basically say, hey, do whatever you want with our allies, and to want to get the USA out of its most strongest military alliance, you need to vote on the Republican side. Checkmark Republican. If you think that's all wrong and we should stay in NATO and we should never side with dictators, checkmark on the Democrat side. He took this U.S. out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement. If you think climate change is a big deal, Democrat side. If you think climate change is a hoax and we're going to be just fine, check mark on the Republican side. He put in 3 conservative judges that removed abortion precedent and made presidents immune as kings. If you think presidents should be kings and be immune from any prosecution of anything that they do as an official act, check mark on the Republican side. If you think, no, presidents were never supposed to be above the law, no citizen should be above the law, the U.S. founders would have never agreed with this, and no president should be a king, and that's why we made the Republic of the United States of America, to be getting away from King George in Britain. If all of that is in your head, left side, check mark on the Democratic side. Now let's talk a little bit about Project 2025. Project 2025 is a manual basically for the governance of the United States under a Republican administration. Trump is scared and right now running away from it, but over 200 of the authors of of the paper, of the manual of 900 something pages, are members of his administration, either current campaign members or past administration members. Even Trump himself went before the cameras at the Heritage Foundation, which created this manual, and said this is going to be the groundbreaking plan for our governors when we take power and are in the U.S. citizenry give us a mandate. Somewhat like that, I'm paraphrasing. In other words, even though Trump is saying he doesn't know anything about Project 2025 right now, back in the day, he said that's going to be our plan. That's going to be our Bible. That's going to be our manual for governance. So nobody be fooled. Project 2025 is Trump's and the Republican Party's plan for governance. Now, here's some of the tidbits from the Project 2025. Again, if you like it, we're going to be dividing the check marks, okay? So, Project 2025 removes LGBT from public life. If you're okay with gay people, LGBT people not even showing their face anywhere and just hiding away in closets, checkmark Republican. If you disagree with that, checkmark Democrat. Makes librarians who have LGBT books register as sex offenders. If you think librarians should be made to register as sex offenders if there's LGBT books in their library, Republican side. If you are horrified with that, Democrat left side. Would remove the Environmental Protection Agency and the Education Department. If you value your environment and want it to be protected, and you believe in strong federal standards for our education so that all the states have the same education, left side, Democrat. If you're against the Education Department and you think the EPA should be disbanded, Republican side. Would deport all immigrants without citizenship in the nation, would create camps for them in the meanwhile while they process them on the way out, meaning probably deport over 10, 20 millions of people. If you think 10 or 20 millions of people should go into concentration camps based on the color of their skin or their national origin or language or all of the above, Republican side. If you're horrified with that, left side, Democrat side. The Project 2020 fires trained, career Fed employees and replaces them with Trump loyalists. If you think that's okay, Republican side. If you think that's wrong, left side, Democrat. Makes Christianity the basis of U.S. society and a foundational principle of education in the USA. Obviously, if you're Muslims or if you're like me, I'm a Babalao, I'm a practitioner of Ifa or Isha, or if you're an atheist, or you don't believe in Christianity, or if you do believe in Christianity but not in imposing it on other people, Democrat side. Otherwise, if you believe the USA is about Christians and for the Christians and the Christians should govern and dominate the country, right side, Republican side, okay? Make abortion legal in all states. If you believe in abortion or the right to have the right to choose over your own body, left side, okay? The Democrat side. If you believe abortion should be illegal, Project 2025 gives it to you. The Republicans will give it to you. Republican, right side. If you he plans to invoke the Insurrection Act on the first day to crush protests. That's actually detailed in the Project 2050. If you believe the U.S. president should invoke the Insurrection Act and crush anybody who disagrees with these policies or any protests that surge up, Republican side, check mark. If you disagree with this, left side, okay? He wants to defund the Department of Justice and put it directly under the control of the White House. That's part of the Project 2025. If you believe that the Justice Department, which before acted, impartially, should be under the direct control of the White House and no longer work impartially, but rather be loyal to the president, Republican side. If you believe in the impartiality of the Department of Justice, left side, Democrat. Okay. Let me see. I had another list here of the Project 2050. Let's see if we can read a few of these guys. Complete ban on abortions with exception. We talked about that. Ban contraceptions. If you believe contraception should be banned so that we can't even get the morning after pill or, no condoms is like that. If you believe that, Republican. If you disagree with that, Democrat. Higher taxes for the working class. If you believe in that, Republican. If you disagree, Democrat. Elimination of unions and worker protections. If you believe in that, Republican. If you disagree with that, Democrat. Raise the retirement age. If you want to work longer until 70, Republican. If you want to be retiring at 65, Democrat. Cut Social Security, cut Medicare, and ban the Affordable Care Act. If you want to lose your Social Security and your Medicare, Republican. If you want to keep it, Democrat. Raise the prescription drug prices. If you want to pay more for your medications, Republican, right side. If you don't, Democrat. Eliminate the Department of Education. We talked about that. Use public taxpayer money for private religious schools. If you believe your taxpayer dollars should be going to Christian schools or private schools, go ahead, Republican side. But if you disagree with that your money should be used for the needs of the majority of the people in the country, not just a specialized schools, private schools, Democrat. Teach Christian religious belief in public schools. If you believe Christian religious belief should be taught in schools, Republican. If you disagree, Democrat, the left. And free and discounted school lunch programs. If you believe kids should pay for their meals, right side. If you believe young kids who are poor should have to pay for their meal, shouldn't have to pay their meals because they can't afford it, and we should be providing food, basic thing of life, left side, Democrat. And civil rights and DEI protections in government. If you believe civil rights have had a good run, but we don't need them anymore, Republican side. If you think civil rights are still needed and everybody should have civil rights, left side, Democrat. Ban African American and gender studies in all levels of education. If you don't want to hear another word about an African American person, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, or whatever, Rosa Parks, Republican side. But if you want that to be an integral part of the education of this country, left side, Democrat. Ban books and curriculum about slavery. If you want to read about slavery, Democrat side. Oh, God, I'm so tired of hearing about slavery. Republican side, the right, okay? Ending climate protections. If you believe climate is a hoax, Republican. If you want climate protections, left, okay? The Democrat. Increased Arctic drilling. If you want to drill more, baby drill, as they say, Republican side. If you think that that's dangerous for our environment, left side, Democrat. Deregulate big business and the oil industry. If you want to deregulate the big businesses and oil industry, right. If you want to not do that, left, Democrat. A few more and I'm done, I promise you guys. Promote and expedite capital punishment. If you believe in capital punishment and you want to promote it, kill more people in electric chairs, Republican side. If you don't want to do that, for whatever reasons, moral or just basically logical in terms of deterrent effects and all the other studies they've done on the death penalty, left side, Democrat. And marriage equality. Basically, gays shouldn't be LGBT shouldn't be have equal marriages as to traditional heterosexual marriages. If you believe that should be so, right wing. If you disagree with that, left wing, okay, or the left side, Democrat. Curriculum, condemn single mothers while promoting only traditional families. If you believe in that, Republican. If you disagree, Democrat. Defund the FBI and Homeland Security. If you agree with that, Republican. If you disagree with that, left. And the next 5, I'm going to go real quickly, okay? Use the military to break up domestic protest, mass deportation of immigrants and incarceration in camps. We talked about that. And birthright citizenship. If you think that your child being born in the USA should give it citizenship, you should stay with the Democrats. But if you want to risk it and be like, oh, it was born here, but that doesn't give you the right to have here, Republican. They want to end the birthright citizenship. Ban Muslims from entering the country. Eliminate federal agencies like the FDA, EPA, and more. And continue to pack the Supreme Court and lower courts with right-wing judges. If you want to have more right-wing judges, Republican. If you don't want to pack the courts with them, Democrat. Now, I want you to tally that up, okay? And I'd love to hear your answers. For people who've tallied this up on your comments, I want to see how many tally ups you had on one side or the other, and ultimately, what side had more votes. And that side, that's the one I want you to tell me, listen, I tallied it all up. It turned out that the Democrats have more votes or the Republicans have more votes. So I'm going to go vote for Donald Trump or I'm going to go for Joseph Biden. Could you guys give me that information in the comments? I hope that this made it easy. It's just, I know it was 20 minutes, but hopefully with this in mind, you don't even have to worry about anything. If you had more tally on the Democrat side, Joseph Biden. If you had more tally up on the Republican side, Donald Trump. Makes it easy to understand.